Hey, welcome to the Broke But Not Broken podcast. This is episode E, and I am your host, Destacott. I think I'm going to try something new here. I'm going to try to record this podcast in chunks because I feel like I'm scrambling all day today just to find a spot to sit down and do it all in one take. So yeah, I'm going to break this up into chunks. I actually think it should work fine as long as I pause at the right spots. But let's see, right? Everything's a test. Life's a test, right? Anyways, episode E. This is the 5th episode that I am recording in a way that's kind of like a small milestone. Alright. So let's see. So last episode, I was talking about how the new platform that I'm distributing this podcast on, Anchor, allows me to add songs throughout my podcast, and I decided that I want to add a song at the end of each of my podcasts now. So this is starting from the last episode, but I just want to point out that because Anchor is a Spotify company, that means that you're only going to be able to hear the song if you're listening to this podcast on Spotify. So I would just recommend listening to this podcast on Spotify if you're able to. Also, it helps a lot to listen to the podcast on Spotify for me in terms of my viewership. If you can't listen to it on Spotify, then I'm gonna have to say YouTube would probably be the second best choice. So yeah, as usual, I have the time to record, but I don't have the proper setting, so I kind of have to keep churning these out if I want to build a habit. So hopefully, once again, I hope the background noise isn't too bad. Let's see here. I want to mention one more thing. Yeah, last episode I talked about moving out. It was kind of a last minute decision. As of right now, I still have not made any final decisions. I'm still looking at rooms. Not as serious as I was last time. So within a week or two, I should have my final schedule in terms of like how my whole fall and winter is going to be, and that's going to let me see how bad my travel time is for work and school and stuff. So yeah, the main reason I would want to move is to off-put the travel time, and I should really see how this travel is to see if I could just maybe willpower it through, or if it would actually be worth it, like financially and like efficiently for my time to move. Considering that I would like to move because I feel like it'd benefit me a lot, but at the same time, not moving would save me a lot of money, which is just as important to me right now. So yeah, it's kind of the common fight between money and my soul. Anyways, that's all the housekeeping I wanted to say. Usually I have a list of things I want to talk about. I didn't really prepare that this time. This is one of the podcasts where I'm kind of like forcing myself to get out there just to continue my habit of making these. So this is a little bit more off the cuff. So I'll just talk about, things I've been seeing, things I've been watching, things I've been listening to, what I've been doing. So some stuff I've been watching. I've been watching this anime called Shirobako. It's basically about a couple of high school friends and talks a little bit past high school, and they're all kind of working in different aspects of the anime industry. Like one of them is a voice actor, one makes animations, one is a manager and director. So yeah, it is a slice of life anime, but it is very focused on the technical aspect of the anime industry. Like, it really gives you a lot of details, and it shows like the interaction with almost like every single part of the process, from scripting the anime, to voice acting it, putting it all together. And it's interesting because I'm learning. It's interesting because of how technical this anime gets. But I will have to say that I find this anime. I'm only on episode 9 out of 24. And I have to say that I find the anime pretty boring. But I have two bad habits of mine that's gonna keep me from watching it. One is that in terms of anime, I always end up finishing them even if I don't like them too much. And two is I only like to watch one show at a time. So that means that because I'm not a fan of this anime too much, it's gonna take me longer to watch it because I'm gonna keep on procrastinating, which means it's gonna be longer to watch something I might actually enjoy. And in a way, I'm not hurting anybody, and it's not the biggest deal in the world, but I won't argue with anybody over the fact that that mindset or that habit is terrible. And actually, yeah, it's just a terrible habit. But I'll end up watching this anime and I'll give a more ending result of Shirobako. What else? I also just watched the new Marvel movie, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So, it's kind of obvious, like with all Marvel movies, all Disney movies, they're all good, right? They're all engineered to be good. They're all based off comics that are good. It's kind of hard for them to be bad movies, right? I personally am not like crazy about like superhero movies. Again, like I said a minute ago, like I think they're all good. And again, Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings, it was a good movie. It was a great movie. I really enjoyed it. I laughed. I liked the action. I loved the sound. I think the sound is my favorite part of this movie, which is a bit different than my normal movie experiences, where I feel like the sound kind of sucks. But here, I thought the sound, like the actual sound of the movie, and also like the music itself, I thought was really good. So yeah, I would definitely recommend watching Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Rings. Alright, quick tangent I'm just going to insert in the middle of the podcast that I'm recording outside of the initial recording. The main actor in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, I don't want to butcher his name, but the main actor, the main dude, Shang-Chi, the guy who plays Shang-Chi in the movie, I kind of had a bias going into the film because I know him as a character in a sitcom called Kim's Convenience, where he plays a like douchebag type character. I'm kind of hesitant to put douchebag in there. I don't know if that's like a bit derogatory or a little too harsh, but that's kind of like the first thing that comes to my mind. Anyways, he plays like a douchey character. I mean, it's a character he plays in the sitcom, right? It's not like he's a douche in real life, or maybe he is, I don't know. But anyways, that's the way I see him, right? And so like I couldn't take, and so now he's playing the main hero in a blockbuster Marvel film, and like it's kind of hard for me with that little bias of mine to take him seriously. So going into the movie, I couldn't take him seriously, but the movie was good, right? I mean, but even with that bias, I thought the movie was really good. I think that goes to show you like how good the movie was, right? I had a bias towards the main character, the main hero, and I still really enjoyed it. Another thing I was tossed right in there, I think the main villain, I forgot his name in the movie, I think he was the highlight of the movie. I think at some point you could even sympathize with him as a villain, and when you can sympathize with the villain, you know that's a really good character. Anyway, that was my side tangent. Also, I am a big sucker for any Asian representation in media, and that means I'm also here to give a shout out to the movie Blue Bayou by director Justin Chan, which comes out next week, September 13th. I recommend everyone go see that movie. He's a smaller creator. He's not Marvel. He's not going to get that population just by being a Marvel movie. So yeah, go support him. September 17th. It's going to be in theaters. That's next Friday. And I will be watching that too. And I will give my review on that movie as well. Again, it's Blue Bayou Blue Bayou, September 17th. Okay, so what I've been listening to, I have been listening to in repetition over the new Imagine Dragons album, Mercury Act 1, which makes me think there's going to be a Mercury Act 2, which I am going to check out too, because Mercury Act 1 got me interested enough. So, the thing is with Imagine Dragons is that they're not like anywhere near my top favorite artist, but from their earlier songs, they've had some really good songs. They're good enough that they kept me paying attention to them still, which means I've had the pleasure of listening to their last two albums and being really disappointed, because the last two albums, Origins and Evolve, were not so great in my opinion. But this album, a little bit better, a lot better, I would say. I felt like the theme was kind of all over the place, but there was two songs on this album in particular, Giants and Dull Knives, that were very loud rock songs, and it makes me really want a full album of songs like these. I think that kind of album would be like really good. Like that would make one of my top albums if they made a full album that sounded like Giants and Dull Knives from their new album Mercury Act 1. So yeah, I think that the album was good. Besides those two songs I just mentioned, a lot of the other songs were a lot more depressing. You know, talking about like being alone and like the fact that like this is my life and people go and come. And I kind of thought going into this album that it was presented in a way that was, well, I read about the fact that this album was supposed to be a positive album, like during these hard times, but I found it overall depressing, and I've actually been a bit down these past few days, and I feel like because of that, I had a more biased feeling towards listening to these songs. I kind of, you know, I felt a little bit emotional listening to some of these songs. So yeah, I mean, the bias is there, but you know, I mean, everything is subjective and has a bias, especially with like your own personal ratings, right? It's just my opinion, right? I had a rating system that I made for albums because I kind of wanted to make that a thing. And I really liked the way it was set up. But the thing is, I'm a pretty picky person, which means like when I rate things, it can be kind of low, kind of commonly low. So I can't really change the way I feel about things, but to offset my pickiness, I decided to make my rating system a little bit more nicer to the things I rate. So I tweaked my rating system a bit while keeping my pickiness in terms of the way I feel about the album. And after all that, what I'm going to be giving Imagine Dragons Mercury Act 1 is a 7.6 out of 10, which might seem like not too high, but you should also consider that for me, like a 9 or 10 is going to be very tough to get. So in a way, like the 8 is kind of like the peak, and 7.6 is really close to that 8. So in that lens, you could think of 7.6 being pretty good, right? But a 9 and 10 is like reserved for like albums I really, really think are good. And I have some of those, like, in my playlist, but they're older albums, and I'm not trying to review older stuff. Just kind of trying to review new things that come along the way. Let's see. So I spent a lot of time listening to that album. I say, you know, give it a listen. Imagine Dragons Mercury Act 1. So what have I been doing? I started playing a new fighting game called Guilty Gear Strive. It's like a Street Fighter-esque fighting game. You know, it's not like a 3D fighter. And I've been enjoying it actually a lot. You know, the thing is, like, fighting games or games in general, but yeah, games in general. But I'll just talk about fighting games. I kind of find them hard to get into because, like, I don't know, I'm not good at it, right? So in the beginning, it kind of sucks for every new player if you're constantly getting beat. But I kind of found myself, like, understanding the mechanics of the game pretty fast, or maybe because I actually tried for once. But regardless, I have been enjoying this game, and I've never played any other Guilty Gear series game. But yeah, I'm glad because I've always wanted to get into a fighter, and this is a pretty popular one. So hopefully, you know, I can stick to it, and maybe I get a little bit better each day. The other day I was playing. The other day, as in the second day, I was playing this game. I was playing for a couple hours, and out of nowhere, so I'm using a controller for this game, and out of nowhere, my hand started like freaking out. Like it started spazzing out. I kind of got scared. Like my middle finger was like overlapping my ring finger, like by force, and I kind of had to like let it calm down to settle back into place. So it kind of scared me a bit. So I've not been playing as much recently just because I'm scared. I pick up the controller and I play for like maybe like a couple games, and I start feeling like in the back of my head like my finger's starting to do that again, or like something weird in my hand. I don't know if it's like all in my head or it's like all in my hand. Yeah, so that's pretty much it in terms of like things I've been doing and watching and seeing and stuff. Okay. So next week, scary week for me. Why? Because I'm going to start my first day of student teaching. And I know as a student teacher, not much is expected of me. Like, I'm not actually going to be teaching the class. I'm more like observing and assisting the main teacher. But I gotta say, you might be like, why am I pursuing teaching if I have such a low confidence? And I'll get into that another time. But, anyways, next week I'm gonna have to go to a high school and, present myself in front of a bunch of high schoolers and hope that I can actually get a good experience out of it and not be scared away. I don't know what I'd be scared of specifically, but I don't know. People say like kids suck, and I think people suck in general. You try to hope the best in people, and I try not to go into that mindset that people suck, but everyone's telling you around you that something sucks. It's kind of bobbing in your head all day. So yeah, I hope that doesn't like suck. And next week you'll see if I am crying from the misery of being a student teacher or excited to be a teacher one day, like for real. I'm gonna be teaching. I'm gonna be student teaching in the Bronx, and I've lived in Brooklyn all my life. I never really traveled to the Bronx. I have to be at school by like 8 o'clock a.m. in the morning, which means I have to leave my house at around 6 a.m. Again, this goes back to the whole, should I move closer, right? Because, 2-hour travel back and forth and leaving 6 a.m. in the morning, kind of a waste of 4 hours of your day. But as of right now, I'm only going there 2 days a week. So I have to see if it's like really worth it. I mean, I can sometimes get a lot of stuff done on the train, like sometimes more than I would do at home, just because like I have less distractions. I can't really be playing like games on the like full screen computer games on the train, right? So I kind of become sometimes more productive on the train. I'll be watching a lot of anime, which I know is like not productive in one sense, but in a way, like I don't really get the craving to watch anime at home. Or I could, read a book, which I never do at home. Or I could even get some homework done in terms of reading articles. I mean, I have 4 hours on the train. I might as well read some articles, and like double up on the fact that I'm in school and I'm also working in a school. Anyways, I'm at about 18 minutes here, and I know my goal is usually 20, but there's a little bit of a side tangent that I think I want to squeeze in the middle of this podcast. So I'm going to actually stop it here, and then I'm going to record my my little tangent, and I'm going to try to stick it in the middle of the podcast and see how that goes, because that's the first time I'm trying something like that. So the song I'm going to leave it out on outro the song is going to be from the new Imagine Dragons album, Mercury Act 1. I think the song I'm going to go ahead and choose is Easy Come, Easy Go. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the song. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Thank you for listening, and hope to, again, as usual, make these more frequently than I am now. All right, see ya.